I was recently back in New York, and I got to catch y'all up to date with what happened at Madison Square Garden. And I really have to tread lightly on what I say because this will destroy my career. But either way, so many of y'all came out to see me do like literally 8.5 minutes of stand up comedy. And I am so grateful for that. And I have learned that I should have just done what I wanted to do. But when somebody I play by the rules too much. When somebody backstage is like, hey, Heather, stick to your time because everyone else is running long. I stuck directly to my time. I am such a well-oiled fucking machine that I saw that clock ticking down and I was like 30, 29, 28. And I knew I had literally 27 seconds left of words to come out of my mouth and I nailed it. And then I walked off stage and I'm like, I should have taken my time. I should have owned it in a way that the other guy took 20 minutes. So why didn't I? But I'm learning. It's learning. But nailed it, knocked it out of the park, had so much fun. But man, I'll tell you what, this is a life lesson in keeping your expectations low. And I don't mean for yourself. I mean for everybody else around you. So let me set the stage. First of all, I'm back in New York and I'm talking like this. First of all, I want to say thank you to all the people that came out to watch me do my 8.5 minutes. Second of all, I was the only gal on the lineup, which was already kind of a touch intimidating. And I was getting to perform with some people on that Rolodex that just I've loved forever. So I had built up expectations in my brain of how I was going to interact with some of these other mega comedians. And we get backstage, the initial green room, and immediately it clicks in. And I'm like, Heather, you're dealing with male comedians. I deal with these guys all the time. But why in my mind I had some sort of like elevated expectation that they were going to be like super social and know how to like hold a conversation? God, I'm going to get in trouble. Whatever. So I show out there. I'm suited and booted, full glam. I'm doing my thing. I'm the kind of performer. Yes, do I look like a homeless person on this podcast? I sure do. But when my tits hit the stage, I'm going to have glitter, feathers, diamonds, and fun. Okay? That's who I am. Remember how Gwen Stefani used to be Lamb, Love Angel, Music Baby? Well, I'm glitter, diamonds, fur, and fun. Suck my dick. So I already show up hot to trot. Okay, that's just me. That's who I am. I'm not a straight denim and t-shirt kind of gal. I can be comfortable. I mean, for God's sakes, right now. Hold on, let me show you what I got. Okay, if you're listening to this on audio and you can't see, I've got a tall Nike sock on with the brand new lilac Air Max. I look cute as hell. Okay, I'm in my Spanx leggings, and I've got an Ole Miss sweatshirt on that says the juice is loose. And if you don't know who Juice is, that's our real mascot. It's Coach Lane Kiffin's dog. His name's Juice. Kind of think it wasn't a great name because if you say it real quick, it sounds like you're saying the Jew is loose. It's the dog Juice. The juice is loose. But if I have any Jewish friends who are listening, I don't want you to think I'm saying the Jew is loose. A quick slip of the tongue, and we're in murky water. Anyways, so I show up in my thing, and I kept telling myself all day, like, just go out there, do your thing. I shouldn't be intimidated by anybody, but I definitely I'm not necessarily in that scene. So I get backstage, I run into my boy, Chris DiStefano, who's a doll baby, and I need to bring him on the podcast. Y'all will fucking love him. He's fantastic. I meet Sam Morrell for the first time, and I just quickly am realizing it's so different backstage when you're with a bunch of gals. We sit around, we kiki, we have a white wine, we're gossiping, we're doing our thing. 10 male comedians backstage, it's like watching the high school debate team warm up for nationals but they all hate each other. And not that they don't like each other. That's not it. I'm not stirring the pot that these guys aren't friends. But it was almost like you had everybody was in their own green room, bitching about their own shit, running around. I don't know why I thought we would all be hanging out in a communal green room, hitting the hot bar. There was a gorgeous spread from MSG. We'd be back there having a little chicken teriyaki and a Cabernet Sauvignon. And I'd be like, tell me about your wife. How are the kids? It was not like that. Everyone scattered to their own green room. So I'm sitting in this green room going through my swag bag. Shout out to Levain Cookies. I mean, I must have had 3 fucking cookies before I went on just because I was nervous munching. Okay? Just wolfing down a double chocolate chip walnut. Dulce de leche. So I'm back there and I'm like, all right, I don't even know half these guys. And once I realize that no one is like commingling, I see Tracy Morgan in the hallway. And I'm like, well, I'm going to get Tracy Morgan to come hang out with me because I'm not going to sit in this dressing room being nervous. So Tracy Morgan comes in. The first thing he says to me is like, you're a stand-up comedian. And I go, I do stand up. Yes. My face is on the side of Madison Square Garden with all of these other men. And Tracy Morgan's just like, oh, you actually do stand-up comedy. He comes in, sits on my couch. And when I tell you, I looked into his loving eyes and I adore him. 30 Rock is one of my favorite shows of all time. Brian Fellows is one of my favorite characters on SNL of all time. I love all of his stand-up. I adore him. I adore Tracy Morgan. The fact that I got to have a heart-to-heart with Tracy Morgan, and when you have a heart-to-heart with Tracy Morgan, it's not really like there's a call and response. It's just him doing his bit at you, and you're laughing. You're crying laughing because it's unhinged. He's so fantastic, and he just kept telling me, like, I'm getting my wife pregnant tonight, and I want you to know that expectation that I had for my conversation with Tracy, it was 10 out of 10. Knocked it out of the park. He walked out of the room. You felt like a tornado had just hit, but in a warm, a consensual, loving way. You're like, I don't know what just happened, but I hope that he has fun getting his wife pregnant tonight because that was, I just felt, I was sitting there eating my cookies, drinking a glass of white wine, and he was just doing bits at me. And it was a beautiful, amazing thing. He's a doll. But everybody else backstage, like I'm waiting. I'm waiting to like chit chat. How are you? Tell me, oh, you live in LA, you're New York based, and it's just not that. And I was laughing because when there's a bunch of female comedians backstage, yeah, I know the rumor is that everybody hates each other. We really don't. We're sitting back there. I'm like, hey, Claire, you got a tampon? Like it's just so different. So I do the show. Shout out to Jon Stewart, by the way, who was so incredibly kind. He came up to me afterwards and was like, you're fucking funny. Like, so nice to meet you. He was so great. But I'll tell you what, the relationships were not what I expected. But I went out there and I did my thing and I proved that I can do it. And I'm so glad I did it. And I'm like, let's do 1 million more. And it's been on my vision board to play Madison Square Garden because a lot of gals don't get to do that. So that's going to happen. I'm playing the big garden. Okay, I don't know which tour, but it's fucking happening. But anyways, long story short, so I tell Chris DiStefano and Sam Morrell, I'm like, hey guys, I rented out a bar called Grove Street down on Grove Street. Do you guys want to come for a drink? And they both were like, you did what? And I'm like, yeah, I'm Southern. I have platters of food. I have an open bar tab. Come down and enjoy it. Because I had friends that came up to Atlanta to see me perform with all these big other comedians. For me, I'm a Southern woman. If you come to my house, I'm going to have a full fucking spread. I don't care if I've been doing manual labor, picking weeds in the yard all day. If I get a text from my husband, hey, the boys are coming over. They'll be there in 10 minutes. If you don't think I've somehow come up with a crawfish etouffee and a deviled egg and pulled it out of my ass with a nice, perfectly balanced Sunjoy, Paula, take notes, then you must not know me. I'm an entertainer. Not only do I entertain on the stage, I entertain at a private bar. And so Chris and Sam show up and they're like, oh, okay. Yeah, you really got dips here. And you know my thing. I got caught having a party one time in college or in high school. And I said, Mom, it wasn't a party. And Robin said, hold on, let me take two. She goes, I said, Mom, I wasn't having a party. And she said, Heather, were there chips and dips there? Did you have salsa? and a sour cream based dip? And I said, I sure did. She goes, then that was a potty. So my family, it's always been our inside joke. If there's chips and dip there, then it's a potty. Okay. And I'll tell my kids that. Oh, you want to chug 45 beers in the backyard with your delinquent friends? Well, as long as there's not chips and dips there, then it's not a potty. So I am hosting all of my friends. They bring their agents, managers. Anyways, we're all having a blast because that is like innately, like inherently built into my bones. My bloodstream is if there's going to be an event, I'm going to have food and drink afterwards. That's just what I live for. You know what I mean? That's what I do. And it was just so funny, the difference between like men and women. And I was like, I know 2 of these guys are going to go and want to do 16 more clubs. And I'm like, I would like to host you at this private bar that I rented out because I am so hospitable. I am a Southern woman and I enjoy pimento cheese, deviled eggs, chicken tenders, iced tea, and a nice crisp bourbon on a single ice cube. Like, I just realized I don't want to say the Paula Deen of comedy because, I'm not that Southern, but I would like to say I am the, who am I? I mean, obviously, shout out to Ina Garten. She's my girl. I'd like to say I'm the Ina Garten of comedy. Okay, I'm going to do it. You come, you laugh, you say, wow, her outfit looks great. The decor is fantastic. This show was absolutely phenomenal. And now she's going to make me a gorgeous shrimp salad on Bibb lettuce with a tarragon dressing? Wow. She believes she could, and she does the most. But we were laughing so hard. Like the next day, I was giggling so hard to myself. These guys were just like I invited everybody. I was like, hey, I rented out this bar. Hey, you guys want to come for hors d'oeuvres afterwards? And they're all just like, you did what? What did you do? Why would you do that? I'm like, because that's the only way I know how to do things is if there's chips and dips, then it's a potty. Okay? And you know what? Performing on that stage with all those guys was something that I checked off the list of a win and a challenge for me this year. And I said, I'm going to go celebrate. I'll find any fucking reason to pull out a shrimp cocktail from Costco and get out some Kirkland vodka. Okay? I will find any excuse.